workshop. Regular board meeting will start immediately after the workshop. Mr. Superintendent?
Okay, Ms. Castillo prepared a workshop for us, right? PowerPoint you want to share with us?
Yes, sir. Good evening, board members, Dr. Aceas, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for the first workshop in preparation for the 1920 school year. I'd like to first review some of the highlights that some of the highlights of the 1819 adopted budget. The district, we are required to adopt three budgets: the general operating fund, the food service fund, and the debt service fund. They are approved at the functional level. Revenue was estimated using a decrease in enrollment and average daily attendance. We projected enrollment would decrease by 297, and the student ADA would decrease by 187. Property values this past year increased by $28 million, resulting in an increase of local revenue of $331,000. An estimated decrease in state revenue of $6 million was also reflected in the adopted budget. This is due to the decrease in student ADA and last year's increase in property values. We also budgeted for a $2 million health insurance subsidy, or a transfer out from the general fund to the health insurance fund. And the other two major things other than those happened during the summer, and one of them was that we decreased the working calendars for all non-teaching positions by 5 days. That generated a savings of $1.2 million. And we also decreased all campus and department allocations that were discretionary by 15%, and that generated an additional $1 million in savings. So that's were the highlights of last year's budgets, which will continue some of them into this year. So this is a summary of our current budget. We have the general operating fund with revenues of almost $145 million, appropriations almost $147 million, the transfer out to the health insurance fund of $2 million, which creates a deficit of $4.1 million. Food service is balanced out. All the money we have coming in, we appropriated, and our debt service fund has revenues of $5.6 million and appropriations of $6.5 million, with a deficit of $941,000. And then overall, you see the bottom line. You know, the district operates on those three funds with revenues of almost $163 million and expenses of $166 million. And for the three funds, we have an operating deficit of $5,081,000. So those are the three major funds that are required to be approved by the board. So this is when we looked at it, and we were looking into ADA and enrollment. And the reason I'm going back to last year is because this it will carry forward to this coming year, or I wanted to give you an update as to how we look with what we projected to where we stand right now. So when we looked at revenues, this is all the money that comes in. The bulk of the money that we receive from the state. And that is based on average student attendance, ADA. Property values, the total valuation of properties within the district is at $1.45 billion. The district budgets 95% of this to be collected. Our tax rate is $1.2582, and M&O is $1.17, and INS it's a little under 9 cents. The max that you can do on M&O, it's at $1.17, which is where we're at, for a total tax collection of $16.7 million. M&O at 15.5, and INS at 1.2 million. M&O is what we use for the general fund, and that's to operate everything, whether we pay utilities, we pay our teachers. Those $15.5 million can be used for anything that operates the district. The INS, or the interest and sinking fund, or debt service, it's to pay for bonds. So everything that we collect there, it is to pay for any debt obligation that the district has that was voter approved. State revenues, it's the major source of revenue for the district, and it comes from two different sources: the available school fund and the foundation school program. The projected refined ADA that we used when building the budget was $13,509. It is projected that $6.2 million will be generated for this coming year. The foundation school program It's projected that $108.3 million will be generated, also using the same ADA of 13,509, which is a decrease from the previous year by 187 ADA. I wanted to give you a comparison of what we had the year before compared to this year. Excuse me. And for this year, last year, for the available school fund, we had almost $3 million. And in the foundation school program, $117.3 million for a total of $120.2 million. For this year, we are estimating the available school fund to be at $6.1 million, and the foundation school program at $108.3 million, for a total of $114.4 million. And there in the last column, you see the difference. Although we gained on the available school fund $3.2 million, or almost $3.3 million, we lost over $9 million in the foundation school program. So the $6 million that I had in an earlier slide that we were projecting to lose in state revenue, this is where we lost it, mainly on the foundation school program. And then the other one usually kicks in when that one goes down, but it's not enough to offset the loss in the foundation school program. So we have almost $5.8 million in decreased funding from the state. Our revenues, and like I mentioned, the state revenues are our largest source of revenue with 85%. And then we have local revenue with 12% and federal revenue at 3%. And then you have there the amounts by source. The general fund, expenditures are, the largest one is our payroll cost at 81% of our budget with $119 million. And enrollment, and here I'll go into what we projected and what we currently have as of the second and the third 6 weeks. Our enrollment for 2016 was 15,334, and then there at the top line you see the trend where it's been decreasing over the past few years. We had projected a decrease of 297 in enrollment. However, because of the expansion of the pre-K program into a full-day program, we drew in more kids, so we enrolled more students. So in enrollment, as opposed to having lost the 297, we've gained 110 from what we projected. So we had projected 14,400, and we are at 14,505. So we've gained 110. Our refined ADA, you see there the trend. It's also been decreasing, just like enrollment, not at the same pace. You see that it's lesser, but it seems to be increasing more this year. You see in 2019, we used 13,509 to project, and we are currently at 13,325. So we had projected 187 decrease, and on top of that, we've lost an additional 184 in ADA. Now, the difference between enrollment and ADA enrollment is the students that we have enrolled to attend school. ADA are the ones that actually show up, and this is an average of the second and third 6 weeks. So what we get funded on is going to be on ADA. So we've put in these numbers into we have a template that we use to project revenues to see how the loss, that additional loss in ADA, it reflects money-wise. Did we gain or lose money? So although, and you see there the same numbers that I had before, except that the new projection, it stayed pretty much the same. Although the loss in ADA is 184 additional, we grew in other areas. We grew in our career and technology, which generated an additional $1.6 million that we had not anticipated. So that's additional, that the bilingual and special education programs grew. The one that had the biggest increase was career and technology. So this is what it's offsetting the loss in ADA. So we're pretty much on target with what we had projected to where we stand right now. And you see there the difference. Actually, we've gained about $240,000 more from what we had projected, so we're pretty close to it. Some of the things that we are currently working on in preparation for the 1920 school year are the budget calendar, which is there attached for you to review. We are pretty much staying on top of it, and as you can see, we had scheduled a budget workshop for today. The other two major areas that we're looking at are salary study that is being currently conducted and a staffing study, which both are being currently conducted. once those are done, we're able to go back and review, and, you know, we can start looking at possible compensation for the upcoming school year. There is one or two things that are very important, and one of them really is out of the district's hands. It is the funding formula for the 1920 school year. This is a biennium year. What that means is that the state approves a budget that it operates every 2 years. So this session right now, it is when they're going to approve the funding formula for the next 2 years. So right now, we don't know how they are going to fund us. Are they going to increase the per student allotment, the basic allotment, or are they going to increase in other areas, or maybe decrease in other areas that'll affect us more? So right now, I can't give you a good estimate as to where we think will be revenue-wise for next year. And as you know, it's very important to know how much money we have coming in before we start planning how much money we can use. The other thing, again, it's our ADA and enrollment projections. You know, the addition of the full-day pre-K program has certainly increased our enrollment, and it has helped we could have seen a larger decrease in our ADA, so that's loaded somewhat. So we're still pending that. We have hopes of expanding into other areas, and those are some of the future plans that we have. Really the purpose of the meeting was that I wanted you all to know where we stand compared to what we planned last year, where we stand now, working, going forward, what the plan is for the next few months. And honestly, I think the funding formula is very, very important, because we won't know definite answers, a yay or nay, or yes, this is what we're gonna use. Some plans are very aggressive and affect the district adversely. And in some areas, some other plans that they have or things that have been talked about and discussed seem to help the district, but, you know, we won't know till the summer. So we don't know how much money we'll have till then. That really is the purpose of this, just to bring you up to date where we stand with the finance and what we look forward, like what we are working with. I don't know if you have any questions at this time. Yes. No. All right.
I guess
Thank-
maybe I just have
Yes.
one. Do you
Sure.
know what is the status? Do we have any outstanding E-rate that is still owed to the district from previous years? Because I know that went through a lot of litigation, and I believe we still had some pending years where they owed us money.
I am not aware, Jerry, do you know? I know we budgeted a portion that we are, but I don't know if it's from previous years. Or Mr. Chavez? I'm not aware, but I'll get that answer for you, ma'am. Anything else?
No, on the funding formula, I know
Yes, sir.
that, or at least somewhat, they have not changed the last 10 years from the
Right.
legislature, right?
Yes.
So because it hasn't changed, I guess my estimation would be they wouldn't change this year. So I guess we could still use the formulas
Yes, sir.
effectively until
So
that occurs.
what we'll do, the only thing that I've heard about has been something called the Cost of Education Index, or the CEI, which is it's a big number for all of our area. It is an additional amount that we get on the basic allotment. For us, it's a 1.14, so we get an additional 14% on top of the 5,000, you know, whatever that we get per student. So that's additional. The talk is that to dissolve that and redistribute the amount some other way. If they did that, there are projections by people that focus in this area in finance, like Lynn Moak, which is, you know, the guru for school finance. They did put out some numbers, and it seems that the district would lose about $4 million if it went that way, which honestly, you know, I'm sure that a lot of lobbying and because basically all the Region 1 schools would be majorly affected by this. I doubt it'll happen, but I can guarantee it. We will work with the current funding formula to make projections, and I know that as they work, they set out different templates that we can work with. So we'll be prepared to show you the different scenarios as they talk about it. The other thing that I thought was very positive that there was a senator that filed a bill to give a $5,000 pay raise for teachers, which is funded. So last time I heard about it, it was unfunded. This year they're talking about actually giving us the money to pay them and not just mandated, you know, pay and then you figure out what to do. So that's something I think very encouraging, that it has been talked about also. Any other questions?
Mr. Ramirez.
Judy,
Yes, sir.
over here, the general fund expenditure, you alluded to that we're paying 81.03% of our revenue and payroll, 6,100.
Yes, sir.
How does that compare to surrounding districts? Are we pretty much in line? Are we?
I'm gonna
high?
tell you that it is I can't give you an exact number, but it is very typical for a school district to be very heavy on payroll costs, because that's what we do. Our human capital eats up most of our budget. It is typical to see it anywhere between 75 and 80%. So, could we work on that number? I think so. What I would like to say is that we have looked at the budget and we looked at attrition, and we have seen a significant decrease. So right now, if I were to run this again, this number would be a lot lower than the 81%. So I think we have, safely say that we've probably saved about a little under $2 million just through attrition this year.
And we have that staffing study that's going on. Is that gonna give us an indication, a better indication of where we're at?
Yes, sir. That is
And
the
that's
purpose of it.
Due February?
March, I believe. Yes.
Actually, they were here today and tomorrow doing some interviews, but they've been looking at our data, analyzing the data and everything, already started the work. We're trying to push them to get us this information by the end of this month, but we're hoping we get something for you March 5th. If not, we may call for a special board meeting to discuss the outcome of those studies.
So I really do want to point out the last fact that what the savings that we've seen through the attrition are significant. So this has made that impact. So when we look at almost $147 million this year, we've been able to cut about $2 million already in salaries, so that we don't have to carry over. Depending on staffing, we shouldn't be able to carry over for the following year. So we should already have that savings going forward. I think there is a potential. There's more there. I think I am being very cautious with the number. But I think it's looking good where we are making reductions. I think everybody has, helped. Obviously, the campuses have been patient with us as we implement staffing guidelines, and we do appreciate everybody. And, Dr. Ramirez has been in charge of this, and we're trying as best we can, but I think we're seeing results. Any questions?
No, that's good.
Thank you.
Just for our board members and our audience here, before we transition to start our board meeting, I don't know if you know, this month is our CTE month, CTE month, and so we wanted to share with you. You all know, we have 24 different programs that we offer here at Dawn. I don't know if you know, our students can get industry certificate, so they can go after the high school and really go out and start working, making money while maybe going to college or doing different things. So anyway, because of it's the CTE month, I wanted to share with you another CTE video about another one of the programs at Donna North. So, let's see.
They're doing what they love. They love coming to my class. They just, every day they look forward to learning something new. They learn how to do facials, they learn how to do manicures, pedicures, nails, they learn how to do hairstyles. We even incorporate the clipper cut. So we try to do the whole skin, hair, and nails. I have them do a little portfolio. It's a resume, the before and afters that they do, that they can show out there to their employers, or when they're looking for a job, this is what I've done. The good thing is they graduate with a license. They graduate already with a trained skill.
One thing that's most exciting about this program is that we do a lot of hands-on things, and we get to learn so many new styles, cuts, colors, and it's just so awesome to be doing it on hands-on instead of just sitting in a classroom and learning it. So it's a really amazing opportunity that we have this program here at our school. Even if you plan to go to college to major in nursing, to major in business and stuff like that, you have a backup to back you up throughout college. Let's say maybe you're not making enough money with work study or at a job alone. You have this on the side to be able to like help you with extra books, extra food, extra like tuition and whatnot. We've had students graduate from here and who are making so much money like in a week just because they do maybe 2 or 3 haircuts, 4 haircuts, but they charge a lot. And so it's awesome because you sit back and see, wow, like he came from this school. And I mean, if you want it, then that is like motivates you because if he did it, I can do it. Who knows, maybe you can be doing somebody for a movie, or you could be doing Rihanna's makeup, Beyonce's makeup. I mean, you just never know. Like, I mean, if you push yourself and you have set higher standards for yourself, you can build yourself. And once you build yourself, you'll be able to get there.
My name is Samantha Garza. I aspire to be, I aspire to lead, and I aspire to succeed.
Thank you. So, just to highlight our students, our Donna North, one of our CTE program again, because it's, I don't know if you know again, CTE, it's the month, CTE month. Thank you.
The time is 6:22. I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the flag, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we would have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. You may be seated. Next on an agenda is our superintendent's report. Mr.
Thank you, Ms.
Superintendent.
Watt. Thank you, Ms. Watts. Thank you, board members and community members. We always start with our Lone Star Governance monitoring report. So today we'll be discussing with you our board goal number 2 and give you a status quo, give us an update, I guess, where we stand. So let me just put this up here. All right, so according to our Lone Star Governance, again, we have to talk about goal number 2. And goal number 2 is pretty much the percentage of students who achieve, meets, and or master's performance level on the STAAR exam identification and the Texas State Accountability Report will increase from 37 to 60% by 2023. And underneath it, you can see the goal progress measuring. There are 3 of them. One of them for 3 through 5 elementary. The other one is from middle school, 6 through 8. And then the third goal progress measure is for our EOC high school students for the STAAR test. So it broke it into 3 pieces. So now, obviously, our students didn't take the STAAR test yet this year, right? They took it last year, and at the end of the year, they take the STAAR test. So the way we monitor it through our benchmark testing. So we did give a benchmark test back in December, and that's very cumulative to see what our students are after the first semester. So we took that data and we plotted in here for you to see are we progressing toward achieving our goal. So as you can see here for goal number 2, again, the percentage of students who achieve meets or master's performance level on STAAR exam identified in the state Texas Accountability Report will increase from 37 to 60%. So this was the end of last year, and we had 37% of our students scored meets on the STAAR test. This is where we stand based on that December benchmark we took at the end of, really before Christmas. And then this is our goal. This is our goal by the end of the year. So our goal is to be at 42% for this 2019 school year and progressing toward our overall goal to get to 60% by 2023. So we were at the end of last year at 37%. In December, when we give that comprehensive benchmark test, our students were already at 37%. And we have, our teachers and principals have another entire semester, obviously, to work hard to try to achieve that 42%. So we are progressing. As far as when you break it down, remember we have to break it into 3 pieces: elementary, middle, and high. So our students in grade through 5, they take obviously the reading and math in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and they take the writing test in 4th grade. So when we looked at those assessment, the benchmark, we saw actually an increase. Our students actually went from 26% based on end of 2018 to 29%. The goal is to be at 33% for this goal progress monitor number 1. So again, we're not there yet, but we have another whole entire semester for our students, our teachers, and our principals to work hard to achieve that goal. Our second one is looking at the middle school, and in middle school, our students get tested in reading and math, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. They take also 8th grade. In 8th grade, they take the science and the social studies, and in 7th grade, they take their writing test. And again, the end of 2018 school year, our students were at 29%. As of the December, pleased to say that we're already at 37%, which exceeds already our goal of 36%. Now, we're not stopping there, obviously. We're going to work hard to see how much more can we increase or improve. And then the last one, the last piece is looking at our EOC test. Our students take 5 different EOCs at the high school level, from algebra to biology. And so, end of 2018 school year, 41% of our kids score met. The benchmark, when we did the benchmark, we did 48% of our students score met. And again, the goal was at 45. So again, we're pleased to report that we are also on our way to exceed our goal of 45%. So as far as like the overall, where we stand, we feel like we're approaching our goal. We're not there yet, although we may be meeting that goal already. But remember, the STAAR test is really the final benchmark. This is what this is like the ultimate assessment test. Figure out if we actually achieve our goal or not. Whatever we do during the school year is just the benchmark and progress monitoring, and see that we are progressing toward our goal. And we feel strongly that our teachers and our principals, our administrator, everybody, our students, everybody's working hard to achieve that goal. But at this time, we are saying we're approaching. We're getting there. As far as next steps, there were data meetings to set goals for benchmark and STAAR. I mean, our principals, our leaders, our teachers, everybody met to work on those action plans. I know that our directors and Mr. Rana's team also been scheduling and meeting already with also our staff and teachers and leaders, and to come up with strategizing and going through the data, do an analysis, but also coming up with intervention plans. I know the spring season is usually that season where we actually push even harder. I know that if we made this much progress in the fall semester, I know probably that progress will be a lot bigger now after the heavy intervention spring semester. And the way we use Euphoria, and we pull out our data from Euphoria. Everything is done through Euphoria, and Euphoria does a great job really looking at everything, our data, and again, very helpful in doing data analysis. Again, this is where we get our information from. We want to highlight and recognize some exceptionally students here. We have some students per subject who actually score a perfect score. So we have an ELA, we have about 100 students who actually had a perfect score. Every question was right. In math, 72 students scored perfect score. I guess in science, 66 students scored perfect score. Social studies, 19. And overall in district, when you add everything, is about 257 students. So we want to highlight that. That's a perfect score. That's amazing. Also, I need to report on you this time goal number 2, and talks about constraints, my constraints. And the constraint number 2 talks about the superintendent should not approve changes in academic progress, a program arbitrarily or without an annual evaluation, and support data of program effectiveness. And under the first one, the number of changes to academic programs made arbitrarily or without an annual evaluation and support data of program effectiveness will be maintained at 0. So we're not going to do anything. And we just continue with current practice. We do not make any changes to any academic programs that we have in place. And then that's it. Any questions for me? And if there are no questions or comments, I mean, we have to either accept or not accept the the presentation, I guess.
I make the motion to accept.
Second.
In favor?
In favor.
Favor.
Thank you. And next, we have Ms. Betancourt is here to recognize our Spelling Bee champions. Our student participated in the Spelling Bee, so she's here to share with us the results.
That's good.
Thank you, Dr. Azes. Good evening, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, of course, members of the cabinet, and best of all, students and parents. Today, we're here to celebrate your incredible successes, and we're going to start by congratulating and providing board recognition to our third place winner, who is, and of course, we do want to remember and remind our audience and our board about how many hours you all spent studying for this spelling bee, and of course, the parents who helped you. I see you're still a little bit nervous, right, mijo, Francisco? Yeah, I know, I saw that, but we're here to congratulate and honor you tonight, all right? So I'm gonna come up to the front. If moms and dads want to take pictures, please do so. And then when we're finished, Francisco, you're going to start right here and shake everybody's hands and then come back to the middle for a group picture, all right? So we honor Francisco Gael Ibarra. All right, and then at the end, we'll take a group picture with the principals and the coaches, all right? Now, you can go ahead and start and shake everybody's hand. And we do want to remind the audience that Francisco is a fifth grader at Rivas Elementary, and he beat out students in sixth, seventh, and eighth grade for this title. So thank you. So now, and now we'd like to congratulate Estelle Vargas, who is a fourth grader at Guzman Elementary. Congratulations. Turn around so mommy can get a picture with Daddy. So now can we have you shake hands with everybody? Estelle, like I said, is a fourth grader, and she also beat out students in fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth grades to become the second place at the district level. So congratulations. And our district's champion is Kayla Vasquez, who is. Congratulations, Kayla. Can you take a picture with us here? Turn around so that you can take a picture of her. Okay, Miss Kayla, you wanna go ahead and shake hands? Time. And all of these students will go on to compete in the regional competition on Saturday, March the 4th, for the second, in West Dakota. So they will continue. Can we have now coaches, and principals coming up to the front, please? Elsa Villarreal from Lenore Elementary. Miss Karen. Second place. All right, Coach Julia Villarreal was unable to be here, but we have the principal, Miss Emmy de la Garza from Guzman Elementary. Stay in there so we can get your picture. And then last but not least, we have, the coaches, they're all last names Villarreal, so the coaches were Villarreal. I think that was just an anomaly. And then, of course, we don't want to forget the principal, Ms. Rosalina Navarro.
And we say great things are happening at Readiness Elementary. Right here waiting for me.
And last but not least, can we have the parents of these children stand up so that we can honor? Thank you, everybody. And this is why being an educator, this is what it's all about. It's about seeing kids succeed and being moved to tears because we know that these are our future leaders of the world, and it's all possible because of the support that Donna ISD gives our children. We thank you. Thank you. Thank you, members of the cabinet and our community, our assistant superintendents, bosses, and Dr. Azes for all your support. None of this would be possible without you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Betancourt. Thank you, students and teachers and parents. Thank you and principals for all the hard work that you're doing. Ms. Watts and board members, next we have presentation of the Texas Academic Performance Report. We have to share this with our community and with you. Obviously, that's an annual thing that we have to do, and Mr. Rana prepared 100 and some slides, right, Mr. Rana, to go. No,
I saw that and said.
I know.
Good evening, board. Ms. Eva Watts, Mr. Dr. Isais, good evening, community. Yes, this report is long, but I will just highlight the important things in this report. I have placed this booklet on your desk. Just to go over the booklets, the first tab is the PowerPoint. I will go over the PowerPoint. Anytime you have a question, please stop me. I will elaborate the slide. The second tab is your taper report, actual report from where the data was coming or is coming. The third tab is the guideline. Why I have a 107 slide? Because there is a guideline telling me I need to present these slides. So there is a guideline why the PowerPoint was long. And then the last is a glossary. So in order to understand the whole report, so there are some abbreviations so we can understand what those abbreviations mean. So as you see the first page, this is a first page look like our Dana ESD, and our rating is C, and then we met all the requirement in the special education and also in the ASV AB. So this was the first page, we met all the requirement. So first I'm going to present the STAAR Performance. So these are the tests we take in 3rd grade. We take reading and math, and 4th grade we take 3 tests. 5th grade 2 tests, reading, math, and science, 3 tests. And 6th grade reading and math, 7th grade reading, math, writing, 8th grade 4 tests. We add also social study and science. And we have 5 EOC, English 1, English 2, Algebra 1, Bio, and US History. So these are the tests, the data is coming from STAAR Performance. I'm going to just explain one slide, and then I'm going to go to the couple of slides on, unless you want me to explain more. This is the reading. We have a 3rd grade reading. The first slide, like first on the corner is reading level, state, region, Dana, ESD. Reading at approaches, and then meets, and then the masters. As you see the state, they moved from 73 from last year to the previous year to last year, 73 to 77, region 73 to 79, Dana was 58 to 69 in approaches. So there, when you take the test, students, when they take the test, the students can be labeled in 3 ways: approaches, meets, and masters. So there are 3 different levels. So this is why you see the approaches, meets, and masters. So down there you see the math. You see the approaches state was 77, and then move only 1%. Region 1, 80 to 82%, and Dana 69 to 76%. That was approaches. And then you can see the progress in meets and master. So this is the same way reading, 4th grade reading, and this is writing, 5th grade reading, 5th grade science, and then the 6th grade reading, 6th grade math, 7th grade reading, 7th grade math, writing, 8th grade reading and math, 8th grade science, and social studies. So that's an individual score. If you have a question, I can explain the slide if you would like me to explain the slide. Good? All right, so this is overall, this is the English 1, English 2, Algebra 1, Biology, US History, and now these are the few slides I'm going to explain, because this is the overall now. So you see the all grade ELA reading at approaches level. State is the previous year 72, they moved 2%. Region 1 moved 3%. But look at the Dana ESD moved 4%. Those score looks low, but we have the better gain than the region and state. And then meets, we have a 44 to 46, 39 to 43 region. Dana is 25 to 29%, 4% gain in meets. And in the masters, the 19 to 19 state, region 1 15 to 16, but Dana ESD moved from 8 to 10%. So that was all from 3rd grade to the English 2, this was the score. So in the math, state is for previous year 79, they moved to 81. Region 1 80 to 83, the Dana was 75 to 80%. Then the meets, and then the masters. Writing, approaches, state 67 to 66%, region 1 70 to 68%, and the Dana ESD 58 to 56%. We experienced some decline, but we are on the top of this thing this year. the meets, you see though we have the decline in approaches, but we had the increase in the meets and then the master in writing. This is science. State is 79, Dana is 72, and then they went from 79 to 80. The Dana went from 72 to 76. You see that we have a very good gain at approaches level. Meets, we went from 36 to 40%, and then in the master we went above 9 to 13%. You can compare with the state and region. Social studies. State is 77, Dana is 76. In previous 17, but look at the 18. State went 1%, Dana went up 4%, and beat the state and the region in the area of social study. And the same thing you can see, we have very neck to neck in meets and then the master. That was the social study. So now we are looking all subject, including ELA, math, social study, and science. State moved from 75 to 77, region 74 to 77, Dana 66 to 70. So you see a score a little bit behind, but it's not that far. You see the score is there. Meets, state is moved from 45 to 48, region 42 to 47, Dana 30 to 37. So you see the jump is greater than the state and region. Master level 20 to 22%, state, region 17 to 20%, and Dana was 10 to 13%. All subject. Any question from STAAR Performance? Okay, now.
Donna, if I was to try and summarize the story here, let me try to take a stab at summarizing what this is telling us.
Mhm.
So that of all of our subjects, we would say right now where we're seeing the strongest results is in social studies, because we're either at or above the regional and state average, followed by we are seeing some significant progress across math, right? Across all subjects in math, and somewhat in science, but then we're kind of seeing either a plateau, maybe a slight decrease, plateau in reading, and then slight decrease in writing. Is that a fair kind of summary of what the story this is telling us?
Yeah, looking at the data from last year to the
This
previous
year.
year to last year
Yes.
comparison, yes.
Okay. Got it.
School progress, in the school progress, just to give you a background, in school progress, we do not have every subject in school progress, only reading and math, because they are the only two tests they are consistently be tested in third to high school. So therefore, in the school progress, you will see only reading and math. And that's where, Mrs. Reina, you are going to see the Dana ISD, how they are performing as compared to state and region. Because this is all about the progress. We are making progress, making stride. So this is a grade, I'm going to present the grade 4, because there is no grade 3rd, because grade 3rd, we cannot measure their progress because there was no test in 2nd grade. So you can measure the progress only in 5th grade, because the 3rd grade they tested in math and reading. So you see, state, their progress is 63 to 65. Region 65 to 67, but look at in the Dana ISD. If you look at the ELA, is 65, math is 65. If you compare with region 65 to 65, state 63, and Dana ISD 65. So we have a high progress in the area of ELA. You see 63 state, Dana ISD is what? 65. State, and then the region is 65. So in the area of progress, yes, we could see the score low, but in terms of progress, we are there. We are making progress. And then in the area of math, you see 65 state, region is 67, but Dana is 65, neck to neck with the region. So you can see the other, that was a 4th grade. I wanna highlight the 5th grade also. You look at the state is 80, Dana ESD is 80 in ELA. State is 81 in math, Dana ESD is what? 83. So we surpassed the progress in the area of math, but we neck to neck in the area of ELA. So 6th grade, you could see the 6th grade, our progress beat the state and beat the region in the area of math, but we are 1 point short from the state, but we beat the region in the area of ELA. This is the 6th grade. And then the 7th grade, and then the 8th grade. I want to highlight a little bit 8th grade. You see 79 state, Dana is 74. 81 in math, Dana ESD is at 91. So we beat the state and the region. So that's the student progress, when the students are progressing in the area of ELA and math. You see either we are with them or above them. EOC, we have a state is 67, Dana is 63. State is 72 in math, Dana ISD is 59. So that way we saw the decline. Yes, Dr. Izais.
No, I just want to remind everyone that for the accountability system, right, to, how the state now is saying, you're A district, a B district, a C district, you can get that either with domain 1 or 2. Either one, just straight, what is the percentage of kids who approaches, meets a master, or progress. So if we are doing a great job with student progress, we may not even be in A district with domain 1, but we can actually be in A or B district with domain 2. And because if sometimes what happens, students come to us maybe at a lower level, so we are growing them, we are helping them grow and progress, but they may not get to the meets level, or they may not get to the master level, all right? But they are showing more growth than what the state is asking us to give every year to our students, and therefore we are doing a lot better. Our teachers, our staff, everybody working hard to make sure that if we don't even get them to pass, at least let's give them as much as growth as possible, and that's why you see a better rating, I guess, when it comes to the progress.
Thank you, Dr. Izais. So this is a school progress. This is that's where you are going to see the all subject, and then the first the 3 bars are all subject. The pink, the light yellow is ELA, and then the green is math. And then you can compare with the state, region, and Dana ESD, and you will see Dana ESD bars are higher than region and then the state. That was a school progress. So this is the progress for prior year to non-proficient students, and you could see Dana ESD they are progressing in as we compare to region and state. So this is the third things in the taper report is how we are doing the SSI, Student Success Initiative, because we have a 5th grade and 8th grade students. They take the first administration in April, and then they take the second administration in the month of May, the last. So we want to see how we are, as compared to state and region, how we are taking care of our SSI students 5th and 8th grade. And I want to just explain first slide, and then like a 79, the first slide state, 79 plus 21 make it 100. So the 79 was their first administration score, but there were 21% of the students, they did not make it the first administration. If you put the both administration together, their score was 84%. Dana, we had 70% score at the first administration. 30% students, they did not make it the first administration. If we prepare them for the second administration, we were at 77%. So that was a 7% gain, whereas the state has only 5% gain on the second administration. This is when we are preparing the students for the second administration. And this is the area of math. As you see in the area of math, we are 94%, and whereas the state is 90 and the region is 94%. This is not the progress, this is the real score, the STAAR score.
Right.
This is the reading and the math, 8th grade SSI, first administration plus second administration. So now the fourth tab in the taper report is the district STAAR participation, and then you can see how all our students, they are participating in taking the test. And now the fifth tab is attendance, graduation, and dropout rate. So attendance rate in Dana ISD 16-17 is 94.8%. They do not round to the nearest hundreds. It's 94.8% because attendance is one of the factor in the Dr. Isa is in the, I lost the chain of thought. Doctors, the attendance is a factor in the distinction.
Distinction, yes.
So attendance is a one factor of the distinction. So therefore, we need to work on our attendance, and it's also the part of the daily attendance, like a ADA. So we need to really work on our attendance. So dropout rate, state is 4.4%, 4/10. Dana was 5/10 in 15-16, but 16-17 we had a very good. We brought it down, dropout rate to 0.3% as compared to state, but we are still above than the region. We need to work on the dropout rate, grade 7 to 8th. This is the dropout rate from 9 to 10th. We had a very high in 15-16. We dropped it to 2.3, but still it is higher than state and region. We need to work on our dropout rate from 9 to 12th grade. Graduation rate, this is a 4-year, 5-year, and 6-year. State take the best of either 4, 5, or 6 year in our state accountability. So we had a 88.8 in 4th year longitudinal, 5-year 86.6, and then in the 6th year 88.7. So we got the 4-year longitudinal in our accountability because that was higher. Graduation type, the sixth tab is a CCMR, College Career Military Readiness. I already presented in one of our board presentation before. I wanna focus on the last 3 bars. That's what Dr. Isa was explaining, like we have 43.3 CCMR total. In the area of college ready, 33.5, in career and military, 18.5. So we need to work on the CCMR, and then we are on the top of these things. So this is the explanation of TSI criteria of graduate. If you need any explanation, I would love to explain, but I'm going to go through this one very quickly. This is a CTE coherent sequence. You see the state is 47.8, and they move from 50.5. You may see the low 30.6, 32.4. It does not mean students are not taking the CTE courses. They are taking the CTE courses, but they are not 4-year coherent. So that's what we are working with the counselors, so we can put the students in the 4-year coherent. SAT, ACT. This is a SAT score. The first is SAT score all subject. Then the second is ELA, and the last is math. And it's compared from 16 to 17. If you may notice, in the average SAT score, state is 5 for 7 in the area of math. And Dana is where? 531. So it's like a higher in the SAT. We usually say that our students are whoever they're taking tests, their score is higher than the state and the region SAT. And then the next is the ACT. The perfect score is 36. And you could see that if you are comparing with the state and region, our bars are neck to neck with them. The next is the graduate enrolled in Texas Institution of Higher Education. The student, they graduate from high school and they enroll in the 2-year college or 4-year college in the state of Texas. If they are enrolling outside the state of Texas, they will not be in this statistic. So our students, they are graduating from high schools, 43.3%, 43 and 3/10, they are enrolling in college, 2-year college or 4-year college in state of Texas. State is 54.7 and the region is 57.2%. And these are the students, they are enrolling in dual enrollment and they're completing the course. State is 37.1%, Dana is 31.3%. Region is a little higher than us because we do not have an early college and we applied for the early college. When we have early college, these numbers will definitely be either above the region or the state. We don't have early college yet. We applied and hopefully we will get the distinction, designation.
Mr. Dana, has
Yes.
that changed? I thought it had to be a 4-year institution for the students that are enrolling in higher ed, because you said 2 years.
It's a 2-year or 4-year, like a
that
STC.
changed?
Yeah, STC, or they go to the college. And these are the advanced dual credit ELA, math, science, and social study. So you can see how our students, they are completing the advanced dual credit. And the next is the student information, how our students are in each age grade level, pre-K to 12th grade. And subpopulation distribution, our 93.8% of our students, they are economically disadvantaged. If you look at the state, there is 58.8 economically disadvantaged. There is a big disparity, like their prosperity and the economically disadvantaged the students we have. And their non-economically disadvantaged, the state is 41.2% and we have only 6.2%. But that does not determine the level of intelligence or the outcome. It's just the level of the prosperity. This is the class size. Elementary, we have a kindergarten, 1st, 2nd to 6th grade. We have a class size informed by secondary. And this is the staff information. So we have a professional staff. Dana is 55.3, state is 64.1%, and teacher, professional, campus admin, central admin, educational aides, and auxiliary staff. So these are the statistics, the staff information. Teacher information, teacher highest degree held, bachelor. Dana has the teacher, they are holding more bachelor than state. On the other side, state is holding more master than Dana ISD. So we need to work on that. We need to make sure that we have more teacher. They have a master degree, so they can teach the dual classes and so on and so forth. And teacher are by experience. We have more teacher 1 through 5 year experience, and then 11 to 20 year. This is a campus leaders experience, average year of experience of campus leadership. You see our campus leaders, they are more experienced than the state average. The salaries, these are salary beginning teacher, 1 through 5 year experience, 6 to 10, so and so forth. So you have a Dana and then the state. Average actual salaries, now we have teachers, professional sports, campus admin, and central office or central admin. And you can compare and look at their state and then the Dana ESD. Instructional staff, Dana ESD 60 and 60.30%, and state is 64.40%. Turnover rate, Dana ESD has smaller turnover rate than the state, which is good. Accreditation, this is the every year we want to make sure our district is accredited, and this is telling us our district is accredited. The next is I will ask Ms. Cancino to support and help me to present this financial budget report, because she has more insight. I will just saying the number, but if you have a question, she can assist us in this fashion. The first is a financial budget.
I'd like just to point out something before we get further along. This is based on the 16-17 financials, actual submission. The numbers they are actual, but then they're not our actual numbers. This was the time when the audit hadn't been completed. So in order for us to meet the PIMS deadline, we submitted unaudited data. So it won't tie back. If you go and look at our audit, these numbers won't tie back to it. So I just want to make sure that you all know that. So you have here the total expenditures for the year. For the general fund, you have almost $165 million. For that year, it was $161.5 million. For revenues, that's for revenues. For expenditures, they are reported at $170,699,000. For the year, actually, they were almost $159 million. Like to point out, if you saw, if the other presentation had that we had expenditures appropriations of 147, you see the decrease from that previous year to this year is a lot of it is in capital outlay. And then I'm just gonna point out on a few of the slides, you see here the proportionate of state, of federal, local, other intermediate sources, and state. You see how Dana ISD receives most of the bulk of its funding from the state as opposed to the state average on the side. The next slide that I like to point out is the comparison on local tax collections. Here you see for the past 5 years, the tax rate, $1.2582, and that's the $1.17 for MNO, the 0.0882 for INS make up the total tax rate of $1.25. It has not increased in the past few years. If you look at the state average, you see the INS, the purplish light blue at the very bottom, we have it at under 9 cents, so that's a very low compared to the state average. And the last slide that I like to point out is the fund balance on 103. If you see the Dana ISD unassigned fund balance, the blue column or the blue section of the columns, as opposed to the state, the unassigned fund balance, that's what it's available to the district. So you see that we are very well compared to the rest of the state. Last year, the district, if you see there it's for 16-17, it's missing. Yeah, it's for the same reason I mentioned. But it was a very healthy fund balance. You see there the unassigned fund balance and the 3-month operating expense. You see how it exceeds the 3-month operating expense. And it did for the 16-17 school year as well. It was over $50 million. So it's well above the state average. So in that regards, the district does very well. It has a very healthy fund balance. And that was the highlights on the finance, if anybody has any questions. Thank you.
All right, so this is the the longitudinal students expenditure per students, and then the next tab is the violence, like the violent or criminal incident. This is a report you have in front of you. They are incident, and you can see the numbers. If you have any question, I can pull this one out and we can talk. And these are the students, they are getting our 4-year or 2-year school. They have, what is their GPA when they go to the school? So we have very competitive students. When they go to college, they have very competitive GPA. So our teachers are preparing them very well. So this is looking at the CIP and DIP. We have all our CIP and DIP they are AE local aligned. So all our objective DIP and CIP, they drive from the AE local. Any question? That was a long presentation. I tried to give you the highlights, but I could have very quick.
Good information.
Thank you, Mr. Rana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rana.
Next, we have the open forum. We have Ms. Linda Estrada. You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
3 minutes. Well, good evening. I'm going to dispense all the formalities. My name is Linda Estrada, and I am the proud secretary at Run Elementary. And I'm here to just let you all know that I left the packages of our NEA lobbying that we did this past Thursday up in DC. We lobbied on 5 points, repealing the WEP. That's the HR 141 Social Security Fairness Act of 2019. We lobbied on supporting the Rebuilding of America's Schools Act of 2019. Just to let you know that the average school building in the United States is 44 years old. Supporting and creating a National ESP of the Year award that would be equivalent to the National Teacher of the Year award, and that would be for any paraprofessional that serves pre-K to 12 in a public school. And we also lobbied against the government shutdown that's looming ahead of us. And then supporting new legislation on background checks for buying weapons, buying guns. In fact, we were talking about making sure, throwing more money into mental programs and stuff like that to help people out. But that is basically what we did. The second thing I want to talk about really quick is last year we saw a lot of walkouts, a lot of marches to the Capitol across the United States. Well, it's Texas' turn this March. And so TSTA has joined forces with AFT, and we are going to be marching to the Capitol on March 11th. That's the first day of spring break. No school, so we won't be in violation. We are trying to get 8,000 to 9,000 people at the Capitol, at the steps, so that we can have our rally. We, as TSTA, the region here in the Valley, we already have 2 charter buses. It's going to be for anybody who wants to go. They don't have to be members. They don't have to pay anything. We will be providing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a T-shirt to boot. Because they want us all to wear red. Anybody interested in joining us, we do have a pledge card. That way we can have some information. You can get a hold of any TSTA officer. We got Mr. Rene Rivera here, and we've got Joe De Leon over there. We have some ARs You can just reach out to us for more information. We are trying to get as many people out there. We're going to be there lobbying for better funding for public education. We don't want a $5,000 raise for teachers just for 2 years. We want it to be a permanent thing, so we're trying to attach it to the state scale. And so that way, it's going to be a permanent thing, not just for 2 years. That's not a raise, that's just a bonus. And so, again, it's for public education. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have business and, oh, sorry, is there, let's see, right here. Now we're going to go into consent agenda. Is there any questions from anybody that has for the, for
Ms. Watts, if you allow me, board members, I want to clarify one thing. I know there was under academic services, number 1, approve ratification out-of-state trip for Indianapolis, Indiana, back in January 29. This is one of our teachers from Guzman, and he did get a grant that paid pretty much for his stay there, his airfare, his food. So all the trip itself was through a grant. Unfortunately, we'll get the notification after our last board meeting, and then the trip happened between January 9th and 29th and February 2nd, so happened prior to this board meeting. So we had to do this ratification to approve this out of state trip. Again, that was a grant money. The grant money paid for his airfare as well as his hotel stay and his food over there. Though that's what happened.
Thank you, sir, for your clarification. Any other questions, any clarifications?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I second.
In favor?
Favor.
Favor.
Motion passes. We're going into now to governance. We have the conservator giving her monthly report for December.
Boy, you're moving fast. Good evening, Madam President, board members, Dr. Asayis. This report that's included in your packet, I want you to know it's a month, well, actually, it's almost going on 2 months. This is December. Remember I told you this is a quarterly report, but I have to report monthly.
Right.
So you'll just see additions to this report.
Okay.
Because TEA just doesn't want to be caught off guard, and they want to look at it on a monthly basis. They don't want to wait 3 months. So I have to send it to them at the end of every month. By the 5th of the following month, I have to have it over there. And if you'll notice, it was reviewed on the 4th by Mr. Jason Hewitt. And he made a comment in there, and he was referencing some of the items that I had already covered in the November report that I reported in December. But he did want to make sure that either the superintendent or myself go ahead and specifically address the inputs and outputs and outcomes, because really all of the inputs and outputs that happen in the district, which would be like things like instructional programs that go into a district, and then the evaluation of those instructional programs and so forth, those happen to be inputs and outputs. But outcomes is what you all are supposed to be involved with, which is the outcomes of the students and the progress of the students. And that's what really you should be looking into. Everything else pretty much is superintendent and the staff here at Donna ISD. Okay? And I do have probably a directive that I'll be addressing to the superintendent in the next couple of days, because I'm still seeing some things that are happening, but I'll address it with him with a directive on that. And if you'll move on to the action plan on financial accountability, and I'm just going to address the ones that are slightly off track, because everything else is on track in the business office with Ms. Cancino. The year-end financials training, she's still doing that, but it only happens once a year, first of all. So it happened this first year for her staff. It won't happen again till this coming year. But what she does need to do, it's new for her staff and reinforcement that has to take place on those year-end financials. The cash flow analysis, again, this is something new for her area. I received it today, so hopefully I continue to get it on a monthly basis because that one will have to be done monthly, but it'll be comparing the prior month, what she projected to what it actually was to see where we stand. So every month it'll be just rolling forward. And once she does it, and it's too late for January. I already reported on January, so you probably won't see a change in this until the February report. Then you have the standard accounting procedures, internal control practices reflects policy, and in those two areas, it's saying slightly off track because she is working on the manuals, and she does have manuals, but you have people that do not have segregation of duties because duties overlap, because she doesn't have a staff person for every single function. And therefore, in order to compensate for that, the segregation of duties, she has to work into her processes, internal controls. And that is what she is doing right now in her manuals, working in their internal controls. But she does have her manuals already. She just needs to go back and refine them and address internal controls where you have overlapping duties that a person may be doing. Because you don't want somebody doing the accounts payable, entering that, and also doing the check and releasing it with somebody else reviewing it and so on. So it's just good practice. Centralized Purchasing Department, today they went to look at the La Jolla ISD Purchasing Department to get ideas how to better do processes here. And they're telling me that possibly I'm asking for too much, so we'll go back and rethink that. The year-end financial training, I already covered it. She's in the process of doing that. Also, the other thing you need to be aware of, because the district failed first last year, the prior year in 16-17, she had to do a comprehensive action plan that she had to submit. After she presented the first public hearing here to you as a board, she had 60 days to submit that comprehensive action plan, and she's done it. She did it last week. So at least you're good to go with that. Then we get to governance. That is your area. Okay. The assessment is usually evaluations and so forth. And I put slightly off track, and you'll see that pretty much because I would venture to say I was guilty of that at the beginning pretty much because I should have realized new board members coming in need new training. We've addressed that. The superintendent and his staff have had extensive, comprehensive orientation trainings for your new board members. Each of those trainings lasted 8 to 9 hours. So I would say you're pretty much up to speed with what's going on because those board members are there. Now, granted, there's no way you can know what's going on entirely in the business office and so forth, and no. But that's why they bring board agendas with things that are happening and so on. And there's a budget workshop today to keep you up to speed and so on. And if you have interest on something that's not covered, address it to the superintendent and it will be addressed accordingly. Everything else pretty much on track. I would say that for the month of December, things improved greatly. They did. There was none of that of going to the departments or asking staff for information and all of that. But there are some other things that I do need to address. not right now, but that I will be addressing with a directive to the superintendent. So then if you go on to the other general activities, one of the other things that the district is working on, we have not done it, or it has not started yet, is your district's strategic plan. And they're working on getting quotes for a vendor to assist them with that. That's one of those. The addressing of the staffing ratios, well, we've got TASB study here, so that should be addressed. The rest are pretty much on target. Are there any questions that you have for me?
Are we meeting your expectations?
Well, I will tell you this. There is still a little bit of too much going to the superintendent's office, too much of that happening, that we do need to address that. And I would love for all board members to be on the same page. And if you will recall what Mr. Cottrell mentioned at the training, when there's one or two board members going there and getting the information differently than all the others are getting it, there is room for distress. And that's what I don't want happening here. And that's what I'm asking, for you to respond to your board agenda items, asking questions by email or send them in, and that way he can respond to all of you at the same time so that everybody's on the same page. Because if one of you has a question, the other is bound, another one is bound to have a question. Or if somebody goes in there and meets with him for half or an hour over some topic, well, then one of you is ahead from the rest because they know more about that topic than the rest of you do. So just keep that in mind. Okay? Anything else?
Actually, I'm just quite pleased with the report, I really am. And actually, what I was looking at, the total number of minutes spent on student outcome goals, what I actually liked the best was that in November, it was only 12 minutes, and as of December, it's 49 minutes.
Well,
So I did say that
every time
big
that he
increase.
reports,
Imagine.
every time
Yeah.
that he reports on this, on where we are with the Lone Star governance, those are points that you all are getting in there. And of course, that's all reflected on the quarterly reports that you get on the Lone Star governance. So it's looking good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Romero. Next, we're going to go to executive session. The time is 7:28. We will be going into executive session as authorized by the Texas Government Code sections 551.071, .072, .073, .074, .705, .076, .082, .083, and .084.
Thank you, Ms. Miles.
11 minutos.
9:47, we are back for open session.
Sure.
Take possible action on matters discussed in executive session. Discussion and possible action to approve superintendent's recommendation of personnel. Approval of recommendation for professionals, paraprofessional, and auxiliary personnel. Is there a motion?
I second.
All in favor?
Moved by Mr. Guerrero, second by Ms. Valdez,
In favor.
In favor?
and I vote in favor. Motion passes. B, discussion and possible action of level 3 grievance of Marisa A. Park. Is there a motion?
We'll make the
Discuss
motion
and
to
accept.
deny the level 3 grievance for Marisa Park.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. De Los Rios, second by Mr. Perez. How do you vote, Mr. Guerrero?
Favor.
Favor.
In favor.
In favor.
Favor. Also vote in favor. Motion passes. C, discussion and possible action of level 3 grievances of Santiago Sustaitia, no action. D, discussion and possible action of level 3 grievance of Norma Torres, Is there a motion?
I make the motion to deny with the conditions that she provides us her service records.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. De Los Rios, second by Dr. Mary. How do you vote, Mr. Guerrero?
In
Favor.
Favor.
In favor. Motion passes. E, discussion and possible action of level 3 grievance of Erika Zarate, no action. F, discussion and possible action regarding resolution Padilla versus Dana SDS discussed in executive session. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the recommendation.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Alicia and second by Robert.
Vote in favor.
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 In favor.
Yes.
Motion passes. Discussion and possible action to approve pending or completed litigation, settlement matters, and/or matters where the professional duty under state board requires private consultation with a school attorney.
No action.
No action. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. De Los Rios, second by Mr. Guerrero. How do you, Mr.
In favor.
In favor.
Favor.
In favor. I also vote in favor. Meeting's adjourned at 9:50.
Pues te vas tú porque tengo cosas que hacer todavía.